Yes, what's happening racing world? It's time for another edition of the Morning Post. Saturday morning, all the markets are set. The weather is ready. No changes there. We know where to pinpoint the punting perler for you. Step with me, Dave Orton, for the next hour or so here at Racing Post HQ, somewhere in the capital, sponsored by William Hill, of course. We'll be opening up the trading floor for you. Don't forget, it's your chance to have a shout out. Plenty to talk about as well. It's the dual purpose weekend. Last week, the question I posed to you was, who wins the Arc? Wake up the community. Good morning to you all out there. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Have your say. Chat amongst yourselves. Give us all your naps. We'll try and get some out as the show progresses as well. And a stellar cast coming your way. Also, let's get straight to it, shall we? Aidan Coleman joins me back.
How are you, Dave?
It's the dual purpose weekend, Aidan.
Yeah, a little bit early for me.
Yeah. You've still got your flat hat on.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a... even when I was riding, I always thought this was a bit of a false storm this weekend because I don't think it gets going until November, Cheltenham November meeting, or maybe there's the Charlie Hall meeting. Yeah. That's when it starts for me.
Well, people love your flat tips. And Seb Sanders back by popular demand as well. Seb, good to have you with us again.
Yeah, good to be here. Good to be here. Got a jump jockey to give a good ear bashing to anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you've gone from Graham Rodway to Aidan Coleman. This is going to be fun this morning, isn't it? We can go across the Irish Sea as well because joining us at the top of the show for once, I think it's lovely as well, David Jennings awaits us. Good morning, Dave.
Yeah, got out of bed a bit earlier this morning, Dave.
That's first time for everything, DJ. Great stuff. Let's go up as well and show you who else is on the show. It's Jamie McBride. We open up the floor then up to William Hill HQ. What do we know, J-Mac? It's one of those mornings. Big non-runner. We'll get to that, of course.
Yeah, morning, Dave. Yeah, it is slightly disappointing. It looked sort of well up to scratch renewal of the Dewhurst, and now maybe a touch underwhelming, but... Newmarket's loss might be the William Hill Futurities gain, and we might see the line in winter at Doncaster.
A lot of people tune in, of course, for the big boost each Saturday. They've got something of a mixed record of going in and getting beaten as well. Where are we aiming then today? Something tells me you're after a Ballydoyle colt.
We are, yes. Delacroix is this week's boost, which is going to be 11-4 from the current 9-4. Thought he looked a tiny bit. He raced a bit lazily at Leopardstown, or he's either a little bit slow. A bit of a sweeping generalisation, but that sort of being out the back and ridden a long way from home probably isn't what you want on the Rolly Mile. So, and we've got a few colts looking promising, running for us. So hopefully we can get him beat today.
Second day then, a Future Champions weekend. Of course, we saw Friday, yes, we saw Desert Flower in the Fillies Mile. We're going to have a little review of that and, of course, what's happened this week as well. Before we show you what's in your Racing Post, go to the previews, have a little talk about anti-post races, something tomorrow, and, of course, those all-important naps. DJ, let's come to you. You're nice and early. Is it too soon for the jumps for you, Dave, as well?
A little bit, yeah. But you kind of, it gets earlier and earlier and earlier. It's like, I suppose, a Cheltenham talk. You know, like I never remember growing up the Chepstow meeting being the start of the jump season. Like it never really felt like it was. In the last few years, we've tried to kind of make it the start of the jump season. I'm with Aidan on this. I think the Charlie Hall meeting at Wetherby, then you've kind of Down Royal, and then you're into towards the November meeting at Cheltenham. That for me is when it's like when you still have Group 1s on grass on the flat. It's not really the start of the jump season, but as I said in the paper today, this is kind of one of these Saturdays where you have the best of both worlds. You can have your cake and eat it too. You have really good flat racing, really good jumps action at Chepstow. But we're almost at the proper start of the jump season. That's how I'd phrase it, Dave.
Yeah, right on the precipice of it. Of course, ITV doesn't think it's the start because the Silver Trophy meeting's not on terrestrial television today. So that's a good question, isn't it, that we're posing? We like to do this. Again, we've come out of thin air. When is the start of the jump season? So for DJ, it's Charlie Hall. For me, it would be November Open meeting. What about you, Aidan?
I think this first weekend in November, yeah.
So what's the first week in November? That's probably
it's
what
usually
DJ was
Charlie Hall. There's an Ascot meeting as well with a couple of good races. Yeah,
of course, absolutely. They get the fireworks
but
back,
like,
don't they,
where's jump racing next Saturday?
I'm going to ask Seb, probably after Doncaster November meeting, Sebby, was it?
Lincoln meeting next year.
What is jump racing, says Seb Sanders.
When is it, May?
Yeah. I did ask you before we came on, did you ever have a ride over jumps? You didn't, did you?
No.
Because you do speak to a lot of flat jockeys, and Aidan, of course, ridden on the flat and all that sort of stuff, and they're like, oh, yeah, you know, I started with such and such, or I was going to go that way, but you've always been, did you not fancy it, or?
Oh, I was a flat jockey.
But you did school, didn't you? And all that sort of stuff?
I did school. Last time I schooled, I managed to smash through the wings. But you know, when I started off at Brian McMahon's, our flag bearer was horse called Cashew King, who won the county hurdle, finished in behind Celtic Shot in the champion hurdle. He was a proper horse.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
Good old Trevor Wallride,
it never went your way, but of course you used to prepare a lot of jumps horses in the making, didn't you, for Sir Mark Prescott? That was a proper farm, that wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean when you think about the likes of English Dreamer, No Refuge, Straw Bear,
keep going.
Yeah, I mean you know we had a plethora of proper horses. Yeah. Graham Wiley was a big supporter of Sir Mark for a few years, that's for sure.
He still drives a Ferrari, just said. All right, okay. So that's a good question. When's the start of the jump season for you all there? The other question is, and I'm going to go around the table with this as well, I might bring in Jamie McBride as well as it. Who's the best dual-purpose trainer? When you say, who's the best dual-purpose trainer? You know, you think of Gary Moore, don't you? You think of Alan King. It's a good debate, isn't it? Who's the best? Seb, you had a couple of curveballs when we were talking about this in the office.
Well, I threw in Stouty and Fanshawe, Royal Gate.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I think most trainers, you know, are horsemen to a degree, and most of them are probably a good bit bigger than a flat jockey. So, you know, they've probably been schooled in the old jump scene. So,
Kevin Ryan, Carl Burke, they were jockeys when Rich Fahey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clive Cox. I mean, the list
yeah,
goes on. Best dual-purpose trainer off the top of your head? Come on, you've ridden for half of them.
I suppose Vincent O'Brien. I haven't ridden for him, obviously, but he's...
Yeah, DJ, you're listening to this, of course. You think of Joseph O'Brien. Aidan O'Brien would be... It's a shame he didn't go on with it, isn't it?
Yeah, the terms and conditions of this debate have changed. I thought it was currently, and then we're going back to Vincent O'Brien and Aidan O'Brien. Yeah, I suppose at the minute, like one recently who's been doing particularly well and has gone more flat is Jessie Harrington. And when you look back at Jessie maybe 5 or 6 years ago, she was still, you know, having winners at Cheltenham, Rock the World won the Grand Annual, and she was still winning those races. Size and John obviously won the Gold Cup, and she was winning Group 1s on the flat at the same stage. And I think when you're able to win Group 1s on the flat and Grade 1s over jumps at that period in time a couple of years ago, now she doesn't have as many jumpers at the moment, but I would say Jessie would be up there. And obviously Joseph, you know, Joseph has huge amount of horses, but I interviewed him last week and he said he's about 90% flat now, 10% jumpers. So yeah, they'd be two that I'd throw out anyway.
Jamie McBride, you've been listening. Start of the jump season, when is it for you, and who's the best dual-purpose flat trainer and jumps?
In this part of the world, I would definitely say that Charlie Hall is the start of the jump season, and I would say Willie Mullins. Even though Sea of Sands is weak today, every single staying handicap is nowadays has a Willie Mullins favourite nigh on, and if he's got so many horses and such depth, if he was like DJ was saying, Joseph's 90% flat. Willie's obviously 95% jumps, but I think that's lucky for the flat trainers. If he sort of went to 80-20 and was 20% flat, I'd have no doubt he'd be winning Group 1 races.
Well, I mean, we haven't mentioned the Northern trainers, to be honest. I mean, when you look,
turns out everyone's a good dual-purpose trainer.
Well, I mean, you look at Mary Reevely and Jimmy Fitz. You know, and
you did change the terms and conditions, by the way. DJ's right. Not that I really wrote you a contract or anything.
I'm the youngest here by far.
Well, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Yeah, I suppose Jamie McBride would be the oldest, wouldn't he? Okay, all right. Let's. Where am I going? The other question is that I asked last week, and DJ, I want to come to you on this because it's topical actually. What was the best multiple? Who got up? We thought we got the comments, DJ, and it said, of course, you had Illinois in the Chaudonnay, you had the Cadran Kyprios, and then we went to the Curragh for Giselle.
What's the question?
What was the best multiple?
Best multiple of last
landed.
weekend. Last week. Oh yeah, sorry, Giselle. Yeah, Giselle was really good, wasn't she? You know, was probably value for further than she won at the line. I just thought Wayne Lorden's comments afterwards were really interesting. You know, he thought the way he spoke about her. Wayne is one of these jockeys who, you know, it doesn't give much away, but you can sense from his tone sometimes when he's talking about something above average. And the way he was talking about her suggested to me that she's certainly probably an Oaks contender next season. Like Kyprios, what can you say about Kyprios? Kyprios is just, I would say, and this is probably controversial, I think he's better than Yates. I think he's He turns up more often, probably wins more often, and if he wins one more Gold Cup, you're probably talking about arguably the best stayer of all time. Would the lads agree?
Well, that is another question. The questions of questions coming in. I mean, Yates, I actually did an analysis of the Racing Post, and Bruce Millington let it go. I called him the king in an analysis when he won his fourth. You know, he was, for me, that is controversial. But I suppose he's getting up there. If he's not there, Aidan, perhaps the way he's putting back together as well, would say it's one of his greatest achievements.
I suppose it's like anything. It's like the constitutional argument. Sorry to bring him up now, but it's like
it's dual purpose weekend.
He will be a great if they keep producing it. Like Yates turned up to 4 Ascot Gold Cups, if you know what I mean. And then obviously Kyprios is arguably maybe better than Yates, but until he does it for the same length of time as Yates, then
the only thing I'll say about Kyprios is he is the only proper stayer at that level around at the moment. I mean, there's nothing else that can get within, I don't think, £10 of him.
Kingy said, I'm not going to run Trushan on Trushan Day, if you like, it's championship.
Sure, Seb, Yates wasn't beating machines either. Like, Geordie Land was obviously all right, and there was a few others in there, but he wasn't beating absolute superstars either.
I just don't think we've had a plethora of really good stayers, and Kyprios is the only one at the moment that's above the parapet.
Well, and of course, next weekend we get to see that. We will be doing a play-or-lay segment for you coming up with the guys. Snappy, quick answers. So good to give this some context. Just go to Jamie McBride quickly. We're talking about some horses here, obviously. We're going to reference Kyprios in some anti-post piece. Giselle, I suppose, Oaks near the top of the market now, anti-post-wise?
Yeah, I think she's around 10 to 1 chance for both Epsom and Newmarket. It was telling in the spring. I think she ran in the same maiden as Bedtime Story and was favourite, and Ryan Moore on board that day, and there was a big word for her. Obviously, she's had a little niggle in between, but yeah, she's one of about a dozen Aidan O'Brien 2-year-old fillies who could win a classic next year.
I've got to be honest, I bet that treble as well last week, just for a bit of fun. Illinois got the job done. Lovely, honest horse, no matter what you think about him. Kyprios, just too good for them. And then Giselle got it done. And in the final furlong, I started to sweat a bit because something came flying out of the pack. Thankfully, she saw her off and got over the line. There was a clear second best. And do you know who messaged me straight afterwards? Coleman. And he said, I told you so. And of course, your brother trains the second.
Yeah, but I told you so. I told you so in June.
How am I supposed to remember that?
I told you so.
If that had beaten me, I'd have been pig sick. And she is a half sister too.
Tamfana, so she did the dam at a good hour, didn't she? Because she won the Sun Chariot an hour later.
Yeah, I mean, she looks mustard, doesn't she, Seb, Tamfana?
Oh, I mean, that was a proper performance. You can have questions about what was in behind it, but the way she moved up through the race, they rode a very simple for Newmarket, and they got their tactics right. Yeah. But the way she moved up through the gears, I thought she was really impressive.
And we think we're going to roll the dice, Munizio and the team. It was interesting to hear Oisin Murphy on Sky after winning the listed race for David and the team at Bath. I can't remember the name of the race. Entrapment Encasement was the name also. Anyway, whatever it is, I got it slightly wrong. He said that David trains on the wood chips. He doesn't press buttons early, and this is why he always has a strong autumn. That's why his horses quite like the soft ground. It was just nice to hear sort of behind the sort of scenes.
I mean, it's interesting you say that. I mean, when I was at Reg Acres, we only ever trained or worked on basically on the wood chip. And hence they were super fit. Yeah,
and it would always win Lincolns or back end.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, look, that's that. What about Arc Weekend then? Of course, Blue Stocking, Jamie McBride. My goodness gracious me, got filled in that just before the off, and she provided.
Yeah, she was the worst result in the book. That's 3 years in a row. The actual worst result in the books won the Arc after Alpinista and Ace Impact. Yeah, she was okay anti-post. We set out our stall to lay plenty of Luc de Vega and Alriffer, etc. anti-post. So she was good anti-post, but terrible on the day.
It looks like she's staying in training, guys, as well. Jamie references that's a terrible result. Boo-hoo. It did remind me of Alpinista a lot. Just got the fence, always up there, pounced in the straight, and off you go.
I mean, she ticked every box with tactics and with where the draw was, and she was in the sweet spot all the way around. And look, take nothing away, I think she's done nothing but improve throughout the season. But the ground made a massive difference to her opportunity to win this race. And look, I mean, all you have to do is take her out off to Rafe Beckett and the team, because there was no way this was going to win an Arc, back in the summer. But it's done nothing but improve. Won Group 1 in Ireland, then won the Vermeer. I mean, you'd say it was a bit of a hiccup in the Juddmonte, but there was 2 worldies in the Chudmont, so you could take that with a pinch of salt. But the arc, everything came perfectly right for her on the day, and she was rightfully the winner.
If Calandagan wins next week, what price City of Troy in the Breeders' Cup Classic? I mean, it's all coming up. It looks like the race of races, doesn't it? Let's just concentrate on Arc Weekend a little bit more. I want to say Zaragana in the opener. It's the name that we're all struggling with. It's Zarkava's granddaughter. Anyway, in the Bouzak course, we bigged her up. We said we didn't think she'd get beaten. Yeah. She did by 100 to 1 stablemate.
No. I mean, it just set the stall out for the art meeting last week with the ground. You know, the fact that 100 to 1 shot could beat her. I mean, on any other given day, she'd probably beat the horse that beat her 10 lengths.
Is she still a superstar coming out of that?
Yeah.
Bedtime Story was beaten in the race. Dave, Bedtime Story. What do we do with her now? Because a lot of people still, some very good judges, thinking she would have been the best Aiders no matter what, still going into the winter.
No, not for me. No, I see what they were trying to do at the weekend. Like, they were trying to train her how to race properly, because obviously she hit the stalls in the Moiglair and she did too much too soon, and they tried to do it the other way around this time and obviously overdid it, but they're trying to get a bit of confidence back into her. Yeah, it's hard to know. I've always thought, and I still think it, I think Fairy Godmother is the best of these fillies. Like, I think what she did in the Albany to win the way she did, obviously I know she's had a setback and she's missed the rest of the season, but that might be a blessing in disguise going into next season. Like I said in a column a few weeks ago, there's only been a couple of kind of wow moments in the flat season. That was one for me where I said she cannot possibly win, no way, and then she won. So I've always kind of had her ahead of Bedtime Story in my kind of Ballydoyle pecking order for the fillies. But Lake Victoria now looks obviously extremely special as well. So he has got plenty of talented fillies going into next season, and plenty of them have run plenty of times as well. So we know plenty about them. But yeah, like you, I actually think she's quite easy to pronounce, actually. Of all the French ones, Zaragana, I think is okay for pronunciation purposes. But yeah, it was one of them where you're going, she got out of jail thinking past the line that she won. You're kind of going, at least she won, but she's better than the bare form, at least she won. And then they do the slow-mo on the line, which they really should do here as well properly. And you're going, oh my God, I can't believe she's beaten. And yeah, it was one of those strange results that you often get on Arc Weekend, and that was one of them.
Yeah, Mikel Barcelona came in for a bit of stick. Let's talk about some other races on the card. The Lagardère, Camille Pissarro coming over the top. Did we see a Rosalian in that race? Probably not. Rashabar ran well, didn't he?
Yeah, Rashabar stayed a lot stronger than I thought. He ran a massive race.
Big weekend for Brian Minns, 2 runners.
Yeah.
JRB on the Saturday.
Have we seen a classic winner in amongst there? No, I didn't think so.
All right, okay. Of course, we had Ramatoil. I'm going to say that in the foray again. Very easy to pronounce. It's Ramatoil. Every time Seb says it, I think of that film Ratatouille. But she's anything but a rat, and she's going to try and cook it up at the Breeders' Cup. Jamie McBride, isn't she? And Christopher Head of Trader was wowed afterwards, saying she was only 80% right. Read into that what you will, but we know she's going to the States because of the ownership, and she's surely going to take a lot of beating in the mile, is she?
Yeah, the mile's shaping up to be one of the better races on the card. We've got Notable Speech and Porta Furtana and Ramatuel. We're now 4-1. I was very impressed by her last week. She put it to bed really easily. We were 12 going into the foray, 4 coming out of it. 4-1. A lot of people would be thinking that's a bit bigger than us. Del Mar still to come, of course, on that. The return of the jumps, of course, that first weekend in November. We've also got a Breeders' Cup as well. Whatever you think about that. So keep that coming. You've had all your questions out there now. Been a big week, of course, not just reviewing the Arc and the dust settling on that. Fireworks, it may not be November yet, but they came at it at Newmarket, guys, didn't they, of course? And AMO Racing stepped it up a level. Football agent to the stars, Kia Jarabchin, comes up 22 million at the end of it. On Tuesday, you couldn't start making it up. And there are, Jamie McBride, before we get a word from the panellists on these, some specials, of course, for next year with each of these purchases. Yeah, we did. We went 66-1 for the individual horses. There were 4.3 million and the 4.2 million. Can't quite. The Wootton Basson was the colt, wasn't it? 66 for them to win a UK Classic in 2026, and we also did another special around AMO, 14-1, just for any AMO horse to win a Classic in 2026. And that has been popular, the 14-1. Obviously, it was a statement of intent throughout the week.
Yes, it absolutely was. Even Samart got one. The Alpinista half-sister 2.2. He said, I've never met the bloke before today.
Hey, listen, the proof will be in the pudding, but they're very brave to spend that sort of lolly.
Yeah. She's like 14s to win the Arc or something already, bless her. You know what I mean? She's got to make the track as a 2-year-old for Sir Mark first. There you go, 100 to 1. All the specials coming up now. Aidan, of course, you're very close to the sales and it's with your brother and the model and stuff. You know it all works. What did you make of all this?
We'll see. As Seb said, the proof in the pudding will be the eating. It's they bought the right pedigrees. Obviously, they paid for them. The right people are in for them. That's why they made so much money. But it's a brave move.
It's a brave move. Yeah. DJ from across the Irish Sea, you must have been keep looking up, didn't you? Do you know what I mean? It was on the website, wasn't it? Then there's another one. Then there's another one.
Yeah, astronomically. I know Brian McGilligan quite well, who's, their kind of new race planner in AMO, and he's a big part of the team now as well. I'm sure Aidan knows him well as well. It's astronomical money. Like it's obviously they have it, and there's partnerships, and they're investing. Like I thought there was an interesting interview with Kia and Gina Harding, where he kind of said, look, we've done our research. This is not a spontaneous move. We're not just arriving here on the day and we're just splashing the cash. We didn't want to spend it. Excuse me. We didn't want to spend this money, but this is what we need to do to get to the level that we're at, that we want to be at. And they obviously want to get to the next level, and they've realised there's no real shortcut to get to the next level. The only way to get to the next level, and I think everybody will agree in this game, is by splashing the cash. And in fairness to I'll just give Aidan's brother a shout out here. Kevin is an unbelievable young trainer, like going places really fast. Like I used to work with Brian Sheeran, who had a share in a horse, who works for the TDN now and won a maiden at Leopardstown during the summer. Like, and Brian couldn't speak highly enough of Kevin. And there's a fella now that could be worth investing in the next few years. And I'm not just saying this because Aidan is sitting on the couch.
Well, I believe they're yin and yang, aren't they? Yeah, I would say the apple doesn't fall far, but here
You're sick of me already.
You've never had a big up like that, have you?
Oh, no, never.
Never, all right.
Normally people shooting me down.
There you go. So look, it's exciting times, isn't it? Okay, let's move on to play or lay then. And this is literally going to be one-word answer between the three wise monkeys, if you like, that I've got with me today. And Jamie McBride is going to serve up the first of them. Let's have some fun. You have your say out there, of course, as well. Get in the community. We'll try and build them up towards the end of the show. So, are we playing or laying, Jamie McBride? Who's kicking us off?
It is Kyprios, the first race, isn't it? The Champion Stairs. Personally, I've waved the white flag, tried to get him beat a few times this season, but it looks as though a few people are going to avoid him next week. So, I'm not overly keen to lay him, but there you go.
4 to 6, first race of the meeting. Do I even bother coming to you, DJ? Just a thumbs up, I suppose.
Yeah. If he runs, he wins. Yeah.
If he runs, he wins. Yes. Play.
Oh, yes.
Lay.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Play. John Gosden's Trawlerman will be hoping to, of course, repeat his win in the race last year. Right, let's keep it going, Jamie McBride. Let's pick up the pace. Who's next?
Sprinters is Kinross. Obviously looks a more wide open race behind Ramatel last week, and he's run well in the race before. Oh,
right. Seb Sanders, Kinross, play or lay?
I'm going to play because I thought that was a really good run in France. I think the
It's a play from Seb. Aidan?
I was going to disagree with Seb.
I think I'd be laying as well. DJ, you've got the final answer on this one.
Oh, sure. People that are listening to me talking nonsense for the last few months will know that I'd be lay for me and Kinross. I think Montesib is one of the best bets of the year. I thought going into the last day in the Spring Cup, I just wanted him to run well. I just really wanted him just to finish in the first 5 or 6 because this is his race. If you were to form a race to suit Montesib, it would be exactly this on the ground he's going to get. And the fact that he's able to do what he's doing on ground that is not soft enough for him, I can't believe the price he's been over the last couple of weeks since the Spring Cup. Like, I think he should be 5-2 favourite. Kinross
is a lay for DJ. Let's keep it going.
We're on to the fillies and mares next, which is Kalpana as the 7-4 favourite. That 7-4 is under pressure. I've seen a couple of bets, lumpy enough bets this morning. 7-4, not sure how much sharp position is going to turn up against her. That's a big question, as is the ground.
Well, this is usually a big field race, this, isn't it, from memory? This is the fillies and mares, of course. Blue Stocking beaten in the race last year. A lot of people thinking this is the new Blue Stocking, completely different tool set, likes the top of the ground. That could be an issue, but she was very impressive in the September Stakes. Play or lay, Seb?
Oh, lay. the ground's going to be different. We're in the late autumn. Fillies are very hard to predict.
I'd agree with that. Like ground this time of year at that price, I'd be lay as well.
I'm veering on the play side. DJ?
Oh, I'm a play. Yeah, I think she's improving rapidly. If it's not absolutely bottomless, I'd say she'd be very hard to beat.
There you go. All right. And here's the forecast. Not looking too bad. I have been at Champions Day 4 when it's been nearly good to firm. When Found won that year, I always remember Rocket, the Tin Man, all that sort of stuff. It can happen. Let's continue our merry play or lay then. Jamie McBride.
On to the QE2. Sharon is your 6-4 favourite. It's not that kind of price. It doesn't really strike fear in bookmakers' hearts, I don't think. But he has been the solid one all season, and if it is on the soft side, he will cope with it.
Was pushed out, of course. We got beaten by a tribalist in the Mulan who got the run on him. He was flying. Whatever you thought about Sylvester's ride, a lot of people thought that should have been the price taker for this race. He was, I think, pushed out briefly. Then now 6-4. Does that float your boat, DJ?
Not really, but like, what's gonna beat him? Like, you go through the field and you're like, oh, I'd say play.
Play. Seb, you're thinking lay, are you?
No play.
Oh, despite Tamfana.
Yeah, despite Damfana, I think he's been the best miler all year. Twice he's been beat. You know, one's got away on the front end. I think he's a proper horse.
They've come out and said he's going to the paddocks, of course, next year at Sunday.
I'd be play as well, yeah.
Play, all right.
I think all year you're looking for something to take him on in all the races, and he
loves the
turns up,
ground,
doesn't he?
loves Ascot.
I think this race is coming a year too early for Tamfana taking on someone like Sharon.
It's a quick turnaround, I guess, as well, isn't it? All right, we've got any more, Jamie? Two more.
We've got the Champion Stakes. Obviously, we're coupling those big two, 11-10 economics, 2-1 Calandigan. So it's about 1-4 combined. Not sure how much opposition's going to take them on. Personally, I'd rather be a layer of economics at 11-10, but I'll pass it over to the panel.
I think this is going to be the one that might polarise. This is a unbelievable match. Let's hope it happens. Let's say it's good. Let's say it's good to soft ground.
Yeah.
All right. Economics or Calandigan?
Calandigan.
So lay economics.
Calandigan, I think, is a worldie. I think economics is a proper horse. I mean, he won a decent Irish champion, but they're not in the same ballpark as Calandigan.
Yeah. All right, Aidan.
I would agree, and especially 2-1 is a lot better price than economics.
Vive la France then in next week's Champions Stakes. DJ, any yin to that yang?
Oh, the lads will be absolutely delighted. I couldn't disagree more. I knew I was waiting for this because I've obviously seen Seb before, and he thinks City of Troy and Calandigan are worldies from the Judmont. If Calandigan is a worldie, what on earth is economics? Because I think economics, I think he's brilliant. I thought he did extremely well to win the Irish Champion Stakes. For a horse so inexperienced to do what he did, was like he showed like. Before, like in the Dante, he showed like he has loads of class and that he's, you know, obviously a top notcher. But in the Irish Champion Stakes against older horses, against battle hardened horses, he won a race he never should have won. He shouldn't have been winning it. And now he's had loads of time to recover. He'll be fine on the ground. Ascot should be perfect for him. I'd be extremely surprised if Calandigan was able to beat economics.
Wow, there you go. Strong views. That is what you line up for here on the Morning Post. And that was the first half an hour segment done and dusted. Hope you had some fun with that. Let's see exactly what you can get in your Racing Post then. This morning, of course, the front page, all about the line in winter. Overnight he comes out. But still, Winter Kings will do the job, won't it? Because Chepstow is back, whatever you think of that. It's a form student's nightmare, says G-Rod about the Cesarewitch in his preview. But there's one line, Lena, worth following. Huey Morrison's horse, of course, he's alluding to. The smart card, Spirit Mixo's finally come back to winning ways and in some style. Oisin Murphy takes a ride for Andrew Balding. All the variables, and the computer says Spirit Mixer. Silver Peak out to extend Godolphin dominance. Of course, this is in the autumn stakes where William Hill have boosted Delacroix. Godolphin have won the last 5. Red fancy to strike again with soft ground in his favour, says Keith Melrose, the betting editor. That's, of course, in the York Coles Trophy. And Johnny Deneen joining the party. Wager of the weekend there for you. Forget the says favourite. That's the Munnins, of course. Fellow Irish Raider and Darby has appealed. Jamie Spencer, Gordon Elliott. And finally, we give you Tom Siegel's price-wise content. It ain't 2 at York. You've got down to Dawn Rising, of course, to play for Tom. A lot to be said about this Cesarewitch coming up, prize money and all that sort of stuff, but we will get to that. Draw breath, Saturday previews next. Well, if you've been following the Insider all week, you'd have been getting a jumps horse to follow from the great and the good. It's all been useless up until now because today's jump horse to follow, yes, indeed, yours truly. You've still got Aidan's to come as well, haven't you?
Yep.
DJ, has yours been out yet on the Insider? You've been WhatsApping everyone?
Not yet. No, next week, I think.
Oh, there we go. Saving the best till last, lads. Happy days. Right, now let's get on with it, shall we? Previews coming thick and fast for you. Chepstow out the way, but stick around for the naps if you think you want some jumps winners being provided. There's two coming up for you in that segment. Liberty Lane then kicks in the Darley Stakes, Group 3. Good to soft. Drying, we think, as well at Newmarket. Jamie McBride, what's the market said? Again, it's that Saturday man, Carl Berg.
Yep, this is our top price guarantee race, so we won't be beaten from price on any runner. But yeah, the market is speaking loudly for Liberty Lane. Obviously, he was a very smooth winner of a course and distance a couple of weeks ago. Lead artists, I'm actually quite surprised by the market, but with the drying ground, I thought lead artists would be stronger, but Liberty Lane seemingly the one for money. And it looks as though those two are both going to be losers, and I think we'll just be cheering on the rest.
Let's have a go then. Pick up the pace here. Liberty Lane, Cambridgeshire winner, turning out. Seb Saunders seeing the ball big.
Yeah, look, I think Liberty Lane ticks every box as long as he's come out of the Cambridgeshire well. And generally, if a horse wins a race, it hasn't gone to the well. And he's more than capable. We're taking on horses that have quality but haven't been turning up very often. I mean, look at Lead Artist. I mean, they dropped him back to 7 furlongs, got beat by Kinross. But, you know, is this them just throwing the dice again to try and, you know, they stepped him up 2 furlongs. I thought when he hit the line at Goodwood, he was sent empty. And I think this 1 mile 1 will find him out.
Won his last 2, of course, over the course. He
worked hard to get to the line in Goodwood, didn't he? 'Cause
yeah.
It didn't really go his way. So I thought that's why I like him, because it didn't go his way and he still
like
won.
Liberty as well?
No, Lead Artist.
Right.
No, I'm against Lead Artist.
Yeah, he's not a horse that's really floated my boat so far. He always pulls him out. He looks hard work when he wins. I know they think the world of him, but not for me today.
But like Liberty Lane's Cambridgeshire, like the first 7 in that race were drawn with it in his group, if you know what I mean.
You think he was totally flattered?
Not maybe totally flattered, but like there's obviously a draw bias, and as I said, the first 7.
A what? A draw bias at Newmarket? I mean, I can't believe that jockeys do not use this draw bias. I mean, I've nicked races up there on my own, and I know it's there, and yet all the jockeys tend to seem to think the ground is better at the middle. I've got a picture of me winning the Cheveley Park, and I'm on the fence. And the rest of the field are up the middle of the track.
In black and white, is it?
Yes, in black and white, right. But, you know, why they give away that rail, I don't know. I mean, you only look at the Guineas, you've got Rocker Gibraltar beating Hawkwing. I mean, it ruined Hawkwing's career.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Kingman, you could say, Night of Thunder, although Night of Thunder, proper rules. All right, okay, so away from the market leaders, I thought that Ancient Rome probably had found himself in an easier split, actually. He's got Spencer on. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go well at a price. Your Gosden?
Yes.
Your Burke?
Yes.
What about DJ?
Oh, I'm against Seb all day here. Yeah, which worries me a little bit because I think viewers will know who's the better judge. I'm with Lead Artist. I'm with Aidan on this. I thought Native American took him on the whole way at Goodwood, and I thought he'd fold. I thought he was a bit weak and immature, and I said he's not going to win this race 2-8, and he still won it. I know he was tired at the line, but I thought he did well to win that day. And even last time when he was beaten by Kinross, like, I think that was the real Kinross. I'm not sure we saw the real Kinross in the foray last weekend, even though he ran well. And he still hammered the rest of them by 2.5 lengths. I think should have been a ring was third. To me, it's just a good piece of placing. Like if you're looking at Lead Artist as a horse, it's this type of race, a Group 3 around this kind of mile 9 furlong type of trip at Newmarket, which should suit him. The ground should just about be okay. I'm very surprised at the market. If you told me this time yesterday that Liberty Lane was going to be a clear favourite over Lead Artist, I would have laughed. I'm surprised at the drift on Lead Artist, and actually worries me a little bit. But I'm with Lead Artist.
All right, thanks, DJ. Okay, yeah. Did you ask for a leg up before today's show or something? You've had an advert for your brother's stable.
He's just a very good judge.
He's probably going to say, you know, John Bond's better than the rest of them now and all that sort of stuff.
Really, that's not right.
There's a bit of shine on it. Don't worry, Seb. I've got your corner. It's all good.
Don't worry about me.
No, you're good. You're good.
I mean, you know, I've got plenty of ammunition. Don't worry.
Indeed, it's me that's trying to shell it. Okay, all right. Let's move on, shall we? One race that won't be going to Godolphin this year. They've won the last 3. Is the Zetland Stakes, a real test for 2-year-olds coming up. Let's get the market up, and Jamie McBride can tell us what the liabilities are looking like at Hills.
Yeah, just some breaking news that 6.5 is out of the Cesar, which is a disappointing non-runner. It would have been the choice of many. This Zetland, Too Soon is the big mover, tipped by both Paul and Tom in the Racing Post. They've made a good case for it on the ground, etc. The only thing of interest in the race is we'll probably need Shackleton beat. We were worried about the Ryan Moore treble, Shackleton onto Delacroix onto the line and Wint. Obviously, that's just become a double. But it would be good to kill those Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore multis early.
Is that going to happen, DJ? Shackleton, 3rd time lucky, last time out. Aidan O'Brien won this in the last 10 years with the likes of Kew Gardens.
Yeah, I think this guy will win. It's been a great couple of weeks for Camelot, and this is another son of Camelot. He just looks slow, like talented but slow. And I thought last time at the Curragh, like when the Natalia Lupini horse came to him, I actually thought he was in trouble, and he was kind of 2 to 5 or whatever. And the further he went, like a furlong out, if you were to say he was going to win by over 2 lengths, you would have said, how is that even possible? Because he looked in trouble. He went and he went and he went, and he just keeps galloping. And I think for in-running players, I think he could be a potential play here, because I don't think, a bit like Desert Flower halfway yesterday, I think he's going to look beaten for a few strides, and I think he's just going to grind it out. I thought he was a very, very solid favourite in a pretty poor race.
I'm going to get that out of the way. I think he's a very strong favourite here as well, Aidan.
Yeah, I like Stars in Their Eyes. I think obviously his first time out was a good run, and then he's obviously improving because he looked green when he won at Leicester the last time. So I think he's going to improve, and I think he's just a bit more value for me than Shackleton.
It's been a great week for Camelot, of course, in the Arc. It's been a great week for Monsieur Beckett as well. Seb, what do we like in the Zetlands?
Oh, no, Shackleton. I think he'll be on the front end. I think he'll have him at the stretch, and it suits Newmarket. The way they're going to ride him, it's going to be very hard to get on top of him, because he'll keep going and keep finding. I mean, I did a bit of research on this race, by the way.
Oh, well, what did the board tell us?
I mean, double trigger, Gold Cup winner, twice over, won the Judmont, Silver Patriot, Bob Return, Kew Gardens, all won Ledgers. This could be a good pointer next year. All
right, Shackleton then in the Sotstus Peter Brandt colours. All right, we'll do for many, and it's Beckett for Monsieur Coleman. Right, let's move on then. Up to York we go to the Naysmire. One final fling, and it's a mile 2 handicap. Really, really competitive race and betting this has been. What is it, 13-2 to field? You've got Valvano for Valmont, and of course, and Beckett as well. I must admit, on that debut form, you'd have thought he'd have won by now, Jamie McBride.
Yeah, he's an interesting horse. When prices sort of filtered through for this race on Thursday, we were clear top Valvano. I guess whether you believe the underwhelming run a few weeks ago or the piece of form with notable speech back in April, I'm on the sceptical side, but he has been really well backed. The other one for money is Paddy the Squire, who I think Paul's been tipping. Again, he'd like the soft ground. One we missed because we were under the market price is Tom's selection, price-wise selection, Magico. He's one we also like. All
right, okay, so you're going to take some winning, is it? Just look at the going stick reading. It's 5.7 about 2 hours ago, so drying up there. I guess that's why Bolster's on the drift. He was one of the original favourites. What do you like here, Seb?
I'm with Valvano. I think he's got a bit of class. Maybe be shooting away at Pattern Company after this if he goes right. But, you know, pace angle, he's going to be in the van, if not making it. And that suits York a hell of a lot, especially in this sort of ground.
Yeah, Sisyphean and others that might be up there as well. 1 or 2 for Sheikh Mohammed Obeid. Aidan?
I love Valvano, yeah. Like, I know he got beat. It was somewhat underwhelming his last run, but it was his first run in like 5 months, wasn't it? So
I wonder whether they were thinking about these sort of prizes.
I don't think they're thinking that day anyway.
I think the handicap might have just slipped up here.
Yeah, I think so.
I just feel it's ahead of the handicap.
All right, 2 big ticks for Valvano. Could it be 3?
No. I think he's a chance. I do think he has a chance. I've gone for a horse here that's absolutely guaranteed to run well, but probably guaranteed to not win because he hasn't won for an absolute age. I think 2022 was the last time he won. Hab's Secret is the one I like here for Richard Fahey. Last time he was disappointing. He was in the first time visor. He was favourite at Ayr. I'm not sure Ayr really suited him, but I just go back to a handicap at York back, and I think it was June or July, and he finished second to Rono off 88 off this mark. But all his Racing Post ratings since have been 94, 95, 95, 93, 95, 93, and he's running off 88. He's just going to pop up someday when he puts it all together and actually win a race. And I'm hoping it'll be today, and I think 12 to 1 is a big price.
Love it. A bit of value then up at the Knavesmire, where we will be dipping back once we continue our merry way along at Newmarket. This is a proper race. It's the Autumn Stakes, and Delacroix looks like he's on the slide. It's obviously the boost for you guys out there. Only one-way traffic here in the market, of course, between themselves. Godolphin have won 6 of the last 7 of these, Jamie McBride.
Yeah, it's been a feature of the weekend, hasn't it? Some old school clashes between Godolphin and Ballydoyle, and the market speaking firmly in favour of Godolphin in this race. Delacroix is on the slide. Like I said, just raced a touch lazily at Leopardstown, which isn't ideal on the Rolly Mile. And I wouldn't rule out a big run from Stanhope Gardens. Been good money for him this morning.
DJ, this is one race that Aidan doesn't have a great recent record in. I seem to remember Magna Graecia was beaten from memory by Persian King, went on to win a Guineas. And Delacroix, Hills can't have him, can you?
No, he's as slow as I am, this guy now. He's more talented than I am, but he is slow. Like, it took him an eternity to get going at Leopardstown and the Irish Champions Festival. You're just going, come on, will you? Like, there's a furlong out and he's still, like, it was all gradual stuff. There's no instant acceleration with Delacroix. I think this is 100% a 2-horse race between Silver Peak and Genealogy, the second string from Ballydoyle. I know, obviously, Ryan had the pick, but he couldn't really get off a horse that's rated 109 to ride a horse that fell in a Punchestown maiden. But Genealogy is really dangerous here. If you just get a chance to watch the race at Punchestown, like, he needed a huge amount of raw ability to win because he didn't handle the bend. He was green as grass, and he still got up to win on the line. I think he's far more dangerous than Delacroix. But Silver Peak, to me, like, Silver Peak ran in the Detain novice race at Kempton back in August, and looked kind of, it was a first day at school. Billy Loughnane rode him that day. But last time at Haydock, it oozed class. And the fact that Sir Dinadin came out the next day and won by 8 lengths at Pontefract kind of told you what your eyes told you during the race at Haydock. It was a kind of an outrageous performance the last day from St. Dinadin. And I'd say Silver Peak is far better than we've seen so far. He just could be the real classy one, but Genealogy frightens the life out of me.
I just want to stick with you, DJ, quickly, because it seems to have been a bit of a trend for punters this year that even when Ryan's riding in Ireland on the 2-year-olds, Wade Lorden has been getting it right sometimes. Not
really, actually, would you believe? No, I did a column on this a while ago, and
he's crunching numbers.
Sorry, yeah, Ryan's the record of getting Ryan on the right one in the last 2 seasons has been unbelievable. Probably up in a few weeks ago. There have been a few kind of in the last. I know Merrily, but sure,
I can't believe you two are turning around to Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore and telling them they are useless judges.
Hang on a minute.
No, I'm saying they're good judges.
You said he was a useless judge, and then Dave Horns jumped in and said he's a useless judge.
We'll go back to Kyprios, but don't worry, that's the clip we'll get out, DJ. Worry not. But what I was saying, I think in some 2-year-old races this year, I've seen the second string Lion in Winter, of course, being the classic case. Ides of March was ridden by Ryan Moore. Wayne Lorden was on Lion in Winter, and we saw what happened there. I've seen it also a few times, like Bedtime Story and Giselle.
Yeah, the only thing is, I would say it happens more often with so if you have a horse who has had a run, who mightn't be like so with that's your perfect example, Ides of March and the Lion in Winter. I would say they knew deep down that Lion in Winter could end up being better than Ides of March, but Ides of March had a run and ran really well, and I think the fact that they don't know how good a newcomer is, they put Ryan on the more experienced one and hoping that maybe Lion in Winter would finish second or third and then go on to win a maiden. So that's the way I'd be thinking anyway.
And he's a fantastic judge, DJ. Absolutely, I agree with you. 100%. Seb Saunders giving it the large, throwing in a grenade, getting comfortable on that couch. All right. DJ's had his say, second string. This could be one of those case in points. I'll just get it out of the way. I think Silver Peak just wins this. This is one battle that they got right at the sales, of course, last year. Paid over $1 million for him. My God, that Haydock form works out. And this is a race they farm. It's actually 7 of the last 9 because Best Solution was a winner for Saeed as well. Is anyone going to disagree with that?
No, I'm not going to disagree. I mean, the only thing I will say is they went with Ibn Khaldun to the Futurity. And they went with ancient. I was going to say ancient Rome, the ancient wisdom, to the Futurity as well. Are we going to see that again today, where the winner of the autumn goes for the Futurity?
Okay, so the last 2 Dewhurst, which are coming up to have provided guineas, but it can happen here as well. Silver Peak, strong selection then for the panel. All right, let's move on, shall we? What we got coming up next is probably a pop back to York, I'd imagine, is it? Let's have a look. I can get to the running off. The producers can't do it. No, they can. It is, of course, the Sprint Trophy up there. It's 240 Stripe Red, given a big word in the paper by Keith Melrose. Jamie McBride, you like one here?
I do, yeah. I'm keen on room service. He's mine up later on in the show. But, yeah, I should say we're 5 places in this race. And I should have said we're 4 places in the 205 York. But, yeah, Strike Red and Summer Hand are the 2 significant losers in this race. Both probably rather predictable. Strike Red getting back onto soft ground, and Summer Hand just has an unbelievably patient fan club, and they've gone in again today.
5 places you're getting here. How many runners have we got, Jay, as it stands in this race?
It was a full field of 22. I'm not sure if there's any non-runners, but it was.
The way my sprint handicap betting has gone this year, and I love a go like a lot of people do, I'd need 22 places to get one in the frame.
I wouldn't disagree. I mean, the problem with York today, with the ground as the way it's going to be, is trying to guessing where the sweet spot of the race or the draw bias is going to be. I mean, when it's quick ground, we know that you need to be drawn low. When it's like this, it's a bit guesswork.
Some mighty characters here, of course. Jamie likes room service.
I'm room service. Loves the ground, and
you are as well.
Form.
I'm room service as well. Yeah.
And it's in the middle. There's two pace horses in what I've got here. Hang on a second. 10 and 11, and that's the pace angle. Apart from that, the other pace is high draw.
There's quite a lot of nodding along with each other on this show.
If you watch his Air Gold Cup as well, he could never win from where he was. Like he was in the wrong position, whatever happened.
Gold Cup form was working out okay.
Yeah, exactly.
As well.
So I think
I thought Sergeant Wilco might have a chance back at.
I think Germanic back in trip would probably suit as well. I think Ascot, he found Ascot a bit too stiff for him last time.
All right, okay. So room service.
Yes.
All right, bell hops all the way.
I have bacon, sausage, eggs.
You absolutely will. With a side of the good stuff. All right, okay, let's go to DJ. I mean, honestly, these are doing my head in. I can't wait for the sprint handicaps to end on turf, DJ. You're probably different.
Yeah, I'm not as lazy as the other lads. I'm not getting room service. I'm going down to the restaurant. I want to ask Seb a question here. Louise Akehurst, do we know much about her?
No, I don't. But this race was the first big handicap I ever won as an apprentice. I won it in 1994, and there was a certain Lester Piggott finished back in 9th.
I was 6.
right. I won it on Ash track, and he went on to win the Woking the year after. So it's quite a useful race.
I just didn't know if there was a reg association there with Louise.
I don't know the granddaughters. I know that they were out with him in Spain.
Yeah,
he passed away. But good old Reg.
Yeah. The reason I ask is I cannot believe the price of Elise Dancer here. So Elise Dancer is 100% priced on good ground. So I just can't understand why this horse. Now maybe obviously there's a £7 claimer. Louise rides. She could be, Nina Carberry for all I know. I have no idea how good she is. She hasn't rode in the last fortnight, I don't think. But to me, this horse is way overpriced because he might be kind of handicapped to the hilt off a mark of 95. But he loves York, he loves soft ground, and as Seb said, I know all the winners in recent years have been drawn low, but there does seem to be an awful lot of pace high in this race, and he's drawn in stall 20. And I actually didn't think he ran horrifically in the Air Gold Cup on ground that was way too quick. And you only have to go back to the Dante meeting here where he won a handicap over course of distance and won quite convincingly that day on ground that was too quick. 22-1 with William Hill. Thank you very much.
All right, okay, and seemingly a race that goes well for apprentices, although you'd have to take Seb's word for it. I think they've deleted those records. They haven't got enough paper, I think, to go that far back, and apparently Aidan was sick.
He could have basically said he won that year's arc. We wouldn't have anyone.
We'd just nod, wouldn't we? Absolutely, yeah, that's right. Well, I won the Donkey Derby that year, exactly. All right, okay. Let's move on, shall we? Look, grenades everywhere now. All right, it's Dewhurst time. It's the Group 1 on the day at Newmarket. The last 2 Guineas winners have come out of this race. No, the Lion in Winter, of course. A lot of people will see this as a shootout now for Godolphin. Or is it, according to the market, Jamie McBride?
No, it isn't according to the market. It's one-way traffic. Shadow of Light is the one for money. Sort of after the final decks, they were pretty close in price, around sort of 3-1 Shadow of Light and 4-1 Ancient Truth. But as you can see, the huge chasm in price at the moment. Charlie Appleby was interviewed after a winner yesterday, and I don't think he would have left anyone in doubt that Shadow of Light is definitely the number one here. So punters have taken heed, and he's the one for money.
Yeah, if you look at...
I should also say, sorry, that we've, as ever, we've got some specials for Dewhurst winners going on to win the Guineas. So Shadow of Light is 20-1, Ancient Truth's 33-1 to win the double, and Seagull's 11 is 100-1 to do the double.
Your boss was just about to press the WhatsApp to you then. You managed to sneak it in, didn't you? You can sit back. Perhaps we'll stick with the way this has gone then so far with these, the Zetland, the Autumn. DJ, let's come to you. No, the Lion in Winter, of course. That's obviously a massive disappointment for not just all media outlets, obviously, but punters across the land as well. And, of course, Aidan still is represented here. What do we know?
I couldn't see Expandit winning. Now maybe he will. He won a maiden at the Curragh narrowly and will probably improve, but you know, it's a big ask. Like Shadow of Light to me has been a kind of a surprise package this season, because when he was beaten in the gym crack, I kind of said, he's only grand. Like, do you know what I mean? Didn't look a great gym crack. Cool Hand Luke won it. You know, Camille Pissarro has since obviously franked the form, but he obviously didn't give his run, and I didn't give him the credit he deserved, and I didn't think he had any chance of beating Whistle Jacket in the Middle Park. When I watched, it was only after the race, of course, after the Middle Park, I was saying, why have I got Shadow of Light wrong? And I went back and watched the gym crack, and then I realised, sure, of course, he was on the complete wrong part of the track, and he was the only horse on the near side to make any sort of ground in the gym crack, and any sort of ground on that day, nearly in total. So I got that wrong, got him wrong. He should stay. He does look a sprinter, but he should stay, and I'd say he just has so much more speed than Ancient Truth. And the thing about the Middle Park was his best furlong was his last furlong. So, you know, you'd imagine he gets 6.5 in his sleep. He should stay 7. And yeah, like, I don't think he's a bad price at that price. I know it's very hard to say an odds-on shot is a decent price, but like, I've seen worse, 4 to 5 shots than Shadow of Light.
Yeah, I was 5 to 6 into 4 to 5 in front of our eyes, and I've seen it shorter elsewhere as well. Okay, let's consider this a shootout, shall we? Thank goodness for Hugo Palmer, by the way. Otherwise, we'd have been talking about just 2 operations going into a Group 1 all week, because Seagull's 11 is the only one that's not trained by Charlie Appleby or Aidan O'Brien. The double has been done a few times. US Navy flag was the most recent to do it, of course. He was visually one of the most impressive middle part winners I have seen in a long time. I watched it back again yesterday. Keith Melrose today in his paper, and his punt email says he gave one to Ballydoyle's best colt, if you believe that Whistle Jacket is.
I mean, we have to rely on Whistle Jacket turned up last time. But what impressed me was the way that this horse hit the line. I thought he hit the line and he galloped out real strong. And Newmarket, you're going up a hill, once you're after the line. So when they do gallop out, you expect them to stay a good bit further. I think Ancient Truth will set a decent enough gallop, and I just think Shadow of Light will just pick him up. I think he's got bundles of speed, and I think he should stay the 7.
It's exciting that they're having a go at each other here, isn't it? He missed the National Stakes, of course, Ancient Truth.
Well, Ancient Truth, he's had Wimbledon Hawkeye behind him, hasn't he? Which is really good form. Now, he's probably improved since that, but at the same time, he was very impressive in the superlative, wasn't he? At the prices, I'd go for Ancient.
Would you?
Well, I was a massive fan of Lion of Winter, like everybody, but
that would have been the one.
Now I had to change my mind. At the prices, I'd be keen on Ancient Truth.
Of course, so you're almost sort of betting, aren't you, that Ancient Truth coming off the 90-day break is the one, and yet he's turning out quickly Shadow of Light.
He hasn't been beaten, to be fair, either.
If you look at Charlie Appleby on Godolphin's socials this week, which is where you have to get a word with him now pre-race if you're doing media, he really is quite jiggy about this guy, and you don't often say the word airborne, or I don't. And you watch that finish back, this colt was airborne, Shadow of Light. He was going to be my nap, actually, before Lion in the Winter came out. But even for me, I won't give an odds-on shot there. All right, so a range of tips. Was it Shadow Light DJ? Just goes in?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I was on mute there.
I tell you what, you did that beautifully, didn't he? He's learning this game like the back of his hand. He was like, oh, yeah, you kept us waiting for that one. Oh, yeah, all right. All right, I love it. Okay.
Shadow of Light, yeah.
It's hard to
Ancient
oppose
Truth.
out of Shadow of Light, but I'm just going to go for Ancient Truth just
All
to
right,
be a bit
okay.
different.
Just to let everyone know, you have napped over
Yeah.
the jumps this week,
Yeah.
haven't you? So, all right, there we go. All right, one more to come from Newmarket. It's the Big Fields, Zarowich. So much said about this race. Of course, prize money now a third of what it was a couple of years ago, and lots written by not just our previewers, not just our reporters, but also our tipsters, saying it's not the race it was. Look for Ireland, of course, and Ireland dominating the betting. Though good to see Manxman there, of course, for the Crisfords. This has been an interesting market. We've got the non-runner. What are we looking at now, Jamie McBride? Where are those red flags?
The red flags are the Emmett Mullins horse, Jacobet Cavern, Premier Line for Hughie Morrison. One at a big price is Anna Benina, which is quite surprising. But yeah, Sea of Sands is weak, having been well back throughout the week. His price has obviously bottomed out and he's gone the other way. Like I say, more strength behind the others. Premier Line, obviously, is a few pounds well in. He's got a good claimer, and I think the drying grounds probably all contributed to him contracting in price. Should say it was 6 places. I like to say, although there are some red numbers, they're not too bad. He's, as ever in this kind of race, is a good spread of business.
Yeah, 6.5 coming out makes it interesting. DJ, again, I'll come to you here. You got Dawn Rising, basically, who was running on from a bad draw. Lots of reasons why he did well to finish there, says a lot of the people in the paper this morning. The Irish equivalent's so much more valuable now. Is that the form line?
I like Jacobet Cavern. Yeah, for a couple of reasons. Like Emmett, he's so good in these races, Emmett Mullins. Like he won it last year with the shunter, targeted the shunter very much at the race. And this seems to be the story with Jacobet Cavern. I know he was a non-runner in the Irish Harwich last week, but the money is astronomical and he was only rated in the low 80s, was never really going to get in. At one stage he was way in the pecking order. So I think it was always a case of, oh, if we get in, sure, we have to take our chance. But if we don't, this is the aim, which has been for the last couple of months. Like, just go back and watch that race at Galway. A massive gamble, should have won. I'd say Michael O'Sullivan would love another go at that. And it was a real eye-catching run from a horse who could be chucked in. Go back to his final start for Mick Shannon in Newbury. I think it was 2 years ago, and absolutely bolted up over mile 5 at Newbury. Really relished the soft ground that day. And then went to the Greyhound Maestro Paul Hennessy for a while and had, I think, 3 or 4 starts with Paul Hennessy. Didn't show that much over hurdles. But, yeah, Haley Turner booked. Yeah, I'd say Jacobet Cavern. Like, the juice got out of the price now with 6.5 gone at 9-2. But, yeah, I still think he's the most likely winner.
It's a fascinating jockey booking, that, isn't it, Haley Turner?
Wait.
Yeah.
8 stone too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay. So, but still, there wouldn't be an association that you've ever really seen before, would
No,
there?
but try find the 8 stone 2.
This, as a jockey, was one of the hardest races to ride in, believe it or not. It's 2 mile 2. You think you got forever and a day, and you can lose the race within the first couple 100 yards.
Being drawn near the stands rail, like you tend to see a lot of it in these staying races, was the thing.
You want to be
wasn't
on the fence.
it? Yeah.
You want to be on the fence because you wasted no energy to get a position. Horses drawn wide. I mean, I know we've had winners, 20 plus and whatever, but they need a hell of a lot of luck.
Do you remember Frankie doing it on Aim to Prosper was the horse? I used to reference him for years after that.
Yeah.
Saying he was the one that bucked the trend. That's a very high number.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really difficult. These big handicaps over this sort of distance, I mean, you can lose it in the first couple of furlongs easily.
All right. Who's going to win it in the last couple of furlongs?
Well, I've gone with Premier Line.
Graham Rodway's big pick.
It's been ultra consistent. It's got a decent enough draw, and riding tactics, I think it'll keep it very straightforward. I'm always worried about horses coming straight from jumps to running on the flat. I mean, you're predominantly a jump jockey.
Yeah.
Why is it where you get whenever I rode a jumper on the flat, it took them a run or two for them to get up to speed? Is that normal?
I think maybe, I'm not referencing your age, but I think in this day and age we go much the jump jump races run much faster than they have been. So I don't think it's as much a disadvantage anymore, because I bet like a 2-2 race over jumps would go way faster than they would in this race. So I don't think the discrepancy is as much now.
Oh, right.
The pace of jumping is ran so much faster now than it was, which is a negative in my opinion. But I think
Frankham and Dunwoody used to. Is that when you were riding?
Dunwoody?
Fred Winter and all that sort of thing?
Oh, no, not Fred Winter. Not Fred Winter. Not Fred Winter. John Frankham was at Fred Winter.
Again, the records don't exist anymore. They've disintegrated.
He could say what he wants. We don't know.
We haven't got a clue. Throw what you like. So that's for Hughie Morrison, who won the race, of course, in the last 10 years of Sweet Selection, I believe. First time blinkers, go for it. Jack Doughty, let's just have a quick word on him. Yeah. Was with Jason Weaver in the week. We saw each other, didn't we? We crossed paths. Jason was singing his praises.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's done extremely well. Is he just behind in the
He's not far off,
He was 3 behind or something the other day.
Big day for Sean D. Bowen, of course. He's on Manxman, who's leading that race.
But, you know, I just think the horse ticks every box for this kind of race. There's a Zara which you always look for something that's going to improve or has got a few pound in hand. I don't think it's that kind of race anymore.
Yeah. All right, okay. Aidan?
I couldn't really figure it out. So what I've done is I've gone for Run for Oscar each way, because like he said, he was running group races a year ago. He ran well at Royal Ascot this year. I think for each way money, you know, he's been there and done it. He's hardened to these kind of races.
2022 winner.
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right, okay. For what it's worth, I thought that Ndawi, I'm with Johnny Deneen. I think the Galway Hurdle second's got a right chance, because he's Spencer just getting him there where it needs to be. That's the Cesarewicz.
To be fair, there was a real expensive 4-year-old hurdle race at Listowel a few weeks ago, which he would have been perfect for, and it's interesting that they didn't take him for it, so it's obviously been the plan.
Placed in the Boodles, of course, and he was a very good horse for Andrew Balding at one point, trying to Group 1 covered as a 2-year-old. All right, that's for Gordon Elliott. A jumps trainer, basically, unless you're Seb Sanders, who says, give it to Hughie. All right, great stuff. That is the previews done, and DJ, we're not far for thanking you now for your participation on the Morning Post. Anything else this weekend that I should be asking DJ about?
Where, do you want me to stay in Ireland, or do you want me to give my nap?
Well, I think let's do it. Just do a quick, what's going on at Fairyhouse today, potentially, and maybe elsewhere? Well,
Fairyhouse, let's just say it's probably not the greatest meeting there has been in Fairyhouse in the history of the home of the Irish Grand National. We've a lot of horses kind of. Blue Devassi, I suppose, in the maiden hurdle at 2:15 is probably potentially the most talented horse run. He runs against Blaze the Way in that. That's probably the most interesting horse run on the card. There's a decent enough card at Naas where the sprinting revelation, My Maid Alfie, who seems to be winning all these sprints these days. My Maid Alfie runs in the. I'll just get you the time now. My Maid Alfie runs in the 350. It's the RFL Steel Stakes, a listed race. Wouldn't be surprised if Tori Vega got some revenge on My Maid Alfie this time. Tori Vega's finished behind My Maid Alfie at the Irish Champions Festival, and again last time. But Tori Vega, things just haven't been going right. Billy Lee takes over, and you just wonder, maybe would Tori Vega be able to pounce late against My Maid Alfie here? So I'd be slightly with Tori Vega in that 350. And look, there's a horse running later on in the card that I actually napped on this show a couple of weeks ago. But one of these days he's going to pop up on one of these sprints. And it is our old buddy Laughing Minute Dave, who runs in the 425. He probably needs a bit more cut on the ground than he's going to get here. It's going to be good to yielding. But I'm just looking outside here. There's a torrential shower at the moment, and I'm about 5 minutes from Fairyhouse, an hour from Naas. So if that did get into the ground, Laughing Minute at about 25 to 1 in the 425 will be interesting. He will win a grass handicap before the season draws to a close, but I just don't know if it's going to be today or not.
He's well named, isn't he? Because I was laughing for a minute then when you brought him up. We go again. DJ, give us your nap then, and we'll bid you farewell.
Oh yes, we're going to the Silver Trophy at Chepstow. I know Aidan said his nap was over Jumpswell, so I presume it's at Chepstow. I hope we're not clashing, Aidan, are we?
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Okay, yeah, I said in the Racing Post today, if I was to compile a list of the best handicapped hurdlers in training going into this season, Into the Park would be probably at the top of my pecking order. He's rated 125. He's only a 5-year-old. He won twice last season. Like, he did remarkably well to win a Taunton, I thought, over 2 miles on his penultimate start. But the time before that at Newbury, he won a maiden hurdle that day, and it looked a decent enough maiden hurdle on paper. He absolutely bolted up that day. I just think the long home straight at Chepstow is going to be tailor-made for him. To me, he's a minimum kind of 140 horse that's starting the season off 125. He was 10 to 1 yesterday, and I was going, oh my God, what's happening here? Have I got this horse completely wrong? but he's been smashed off the boards this morning. So I don't know what price we're going to get for our boost. Are we going to get 10-1 maybe, Jamie?
You will have to wait for the end of the show for that. Do not reveal it. He's trying to get it out of you, McBride. Do you know what, DJ? When I saw the decks coming in for this, I previewed the race on Sky yesterday with a 2 for Philip Hobbs. You're the first person I thought of, because I remember they tried to get him into the Cheltenham Festival, didn't they? And they then ran him at Newbury. He looked a bit over the top. Yeah. He's your typical kind of Philip Hobbs improver. He won the race a few years ago, Philip Hobbs as well, and he had the third horse in. I think he had the third horse in 2020, the winner in 2021. He has 2 in the race this year. Micheál Nolan, I'd imagine, would have had the choice. Look, you never know. It is a bit stupid probably having a nap in a race like this where horses are coming back. You don't know their fitness levels. But I'd imagine the Hobbs team were saying to himself, right, we have a 125 rated handicap hurdler who wants 2.5 miles, who is absolutely perfect for this race. So I don't think they're going to leave him too short for it. Let's just say 10-1 I thought was a very big price yesterday. All right, well, you might be getting that. Stick around, viewers, to the end of the show. The naps aren't quite live yet on the site or the app. DJ, it's been an absolute pleasure. Love these Saturday mornings. Go well.
Cheers, boys.
Love it. David Jennings, Deputy Irish Editor. We bid him farewell. Okie dokie. Right, that's the Saturday preview. He's done a little bit of Ireland. He's already told you what his nap is. We're going to draw up just breath for a second or two before we look at a Sunday race. Don't forget, get your thumbs up, like and subscribe. That's what it's all about here at the Racing Post, the Members Club. Keeping all the lights on, of course. If you agree with what a lot of the panellists have been agreeing with, if you agree with what Seb, Aidan or indeed GJ is saying, get your thumb up and like and let us know. All right, tomorrow, of course, at Goodwood. Sponsorship time. Here we go, Jamie McBride. This should be a good card, shouldn't it, at Goodwood? Always like this Sunday.
It should, yeah. I presume this is the final Goodwood meeting of the year. It must be this or very close to it. It's a good few William Hill sponsored races. It was a fair card. Yeah, we priced up this sprint. It was a tricky one to price. All of the runners have got one question or another to answer. Quiet so far, but the one for money, a little bit of money, is chairman of the board, who was well back last week, but looking back at his record, he does improve a lot for his first run after a break, and he'd obviously love conditions, so he's the one for a little bit of interest so far.
All right, okay, yeah, Sunday treat for you then. Hayley Turner could be well taking out the Cesarewitch, of course, for Emmett Mullins. She could well be winning on Roger Teal's hardy sprinter Alcazan. It's going to be horrible ground there tomorrow over at Goodwood, isn't it? If you're a mud lover, you'll be in clover. Seb, you've had a little look?
I haven't looked at this race, to be honest. The thing with Goodwood, when it's really soft, you want to be tucked tight under the stands rail. Tight.
Yeah, as hard as you can to it.
Hard as you can. And, you know, jockeys are always afraid of going too quick. And the straight at Goodwood, the 6 furlong straight, you can really roll along from the top of the hill there, which is round about, just about the 5 furlong marker. It all runs downhill. And as long as you've just saved enough, you can afford to go a bit quicker than you think, even on cutting the ground.
This would be nice, wouldn't it? You'd just be putting down your roast beef or your veggie roast, whatever you're having, and you'll be thinking, come on, I can have a go at one of my favourite sprinters here. Who's the favourite for Aidan here?
I'd like Boldemiro. The thing is, with what Seb said about the draw, might be a little bit disadvantaged there.
Yeah.
Won't be under the stand
Well, he's
side.
in one, yeah.
Unless he has to get there. But it's not a big field, so
Yeah,
it's
no,
not, it's
quite.
not about possible.
The outside of the lot's
You will
got
not
the 6.
believe, like, if you're drawn 1 on the wing, you only need one of the other horses to miss the kick or to jump quick if you're jumping quick, and you are, I mean, that's it, your hands are tied.
Yeah.
You know, you need that bit of luck.
Yeah.
But I tend to agree, you can overcome it.
With a smaller field as well.
You need a little bit of luck.
Yeah, Alcazan will be popular for a lot. Good luck with that. That's 3 o'clock tomorrow. For what it's worth, my old friend Chairman of the Board will get Dave Orton's fiver at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Okay, final part of the show coming up. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Morning Post. It's been great fun. Champions Day, of course, coming up next week. Cannot wait for that. But drum roll, please. It's time. They're now live on the site and the William Hill app. It's nap time. Where are we going? Yep, Silver Peak for me. I'm getting, what's that, 11 to 4? Happy days. We all agreed on that, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We all agreed. Aidan, okay. Look, Aidan Coleman's nodding his head. He's thinking to himself, did you say live, Dave Orton? Good stuff. All right, and Aidan, take it away. Novice chase time. It's been won by some greats.
Yeah, I think Nigel Twiston Davis this time of year, they probably know better. this horse last year, he was favourite for the Pertemps, where he ran really, really well. And then I think entry then was just end of a long season. He just didn't turn up. But I think Nigel, like this time of year, he always used to target Perth. But whereas this is kind of relatively new race, I think he's probably shifted focus to this. And I think he's like 8 winners from 30 runners in the last couple of weeks.
5 to 2, yeah.
He's flying. So yeah,
You've got a couple of older horses against him, John Joe's.
I'd really this time of year. I think he's a good bet at 5 to 2.
And you've got a cheeky record with the naps, Mr. Coleman.
Better
than
yours, which wouldn't be hard, mine, but it's all right.
It's all right. Bloody hell, another grenade! Unbelievable scenes. I've had one from Son, I've had one from Coleman. I've definitely had about 5 from DJ. Doubtless you're doing them as well out there, are you? Okay, what do we got? Liberty Lane, our first preview race. It seems like a long time ago now, Seb, like most of your records, and apparently
easy tiger.
And
easy.
Okay, so Liberty Lane, Cambridgeshire winner just wins.
Yeah, the step up to Patent Company should be straightforward, and I don't think he's the strongest of fields.
Okay, all right. So there you go. What are you getting about that? 15 to 8 out there. DJ was hoping for 10 to 1 about Into the Park. Jamie McBride, you're not even giving him that. You must fancy a bit yourself.
No, he's 8 to 1, yeah, from 13 to 2 in the main book for Into the Park.
And we'll just sign it off. Jamie McBride, it's been an absolute pleasure. Room service, the guys were nodding away with you as well. Kevin Ryan takes out the Sprint Trophy.
Hopefully he'll be finishing to good effect on his favoured soft grounds. Hopefully he doesn't get too far back early. But, yep, good pace drawn around him. Hopefully he can stay in touch early and finish off best of all.
Magnificent. Live. Go and fill your boots, then do an acca, however you want it. Those are the Morning Post naps on this fine dual-purpose Saturday. Really had a lot of fun today, chaps.
Thank you.
Thanks ever so much. Seb, quiet day and then see you on Sky in the week.
My daughter's riding that Horse of the Year show today, so fingers and toes crossed.
You're there, are you?
No, I'll be with my wife. And
okay.
We'll be watching on.
You can stream all these things now.
On the internet, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Great stuff. Aidan?
Back to Ireland and back to Newmarket next week for book 2.
I love it. Oh, yeah. Yes, of course you are. Let's see if we can get that 10
Palace girl, yeah.
All right, okay.
Getting the wallet out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a week for wallets, hasn't it? All right, great stuff. Really have had fun. Thanks you for watching. We'll be back for Champions Day. This has been the Morning Post. All the sports out there. Enjoy it.